Hello, welcome to WiZ Training. By the end of this webinar, you should be able to complete all inventory functions in WiZ, prepare your inventory reconciliation, place vaccine orders, receive vaccine shipments, and know how to get help with WiZ. This WiZ handout should be posted in your office's waiting room. By posting this, you are letting your patients know that their immunization information will be shared with DPH as allowed per state regulations. This handout is written in both English and Spanish. If your patient chooses to opt out of WiZ, the handout includes instructions. However, luckily less than 1% opt out. We are going to start with the Inventory on Hand screen, found in the Inventory module. This screen allows you to view your inventory by inventory location and take action on the vaccines you have. Only the primary and backup vaccine coordinators have access to the Inventory module in WiZ. You can view your inventory on hand by going to Inventory, Vaccines, then On Hand. Here, your inventory is separated by inventory locations, such as refrigerator and freezer. Your inventory locations on your on-hand inventory is entered in WiZ by the CBP program when you first go live. The following transactions must be documented in WiZ in order for your on-hand inventory to stay in sync with your physical inventory in your clinic. Documenting administered doses to patients, transferring in and out vaccine inventory, wastage and expired vaccines, and receiving shipments. Please note that only your state inventory is loaded into WiZ. We highly recommend you add your private inventory, which could be beneficial to the practice. We have already made a private location for you to add inventory in if you wish. You can add inventory by clicking on the Add New Inventory button. You can use the filters at the top of the screen to filter by inventory location, status such as on hand, depleted and expired or expiring soon, vaccine, or funding source. You can also see if any vaccines are expiring soon. Any vaccines expiring within 4 months of today's date have a red clock showing you to either use these doses or transfer them out. Once a vaccine has expired, it disappears from your vaccines on hand since it is no longer viable for use. To view vaccines that have expired, use the filter at the top of your vaccine on hand screen and choose depleted and expired. If at any time you have questions on a screen in WiZ, there are blue eyes located at the top of the page. A pop-up appears with information specifically for the page you are on. Some pages also have a blue Learn More link. Click on this link to find short how-to videos and written instructions. This page displays in a separate window so you can watch the video, pause it, continue on your screen, and then continue watching. We will now go through all the actions you can do with your on-hand inventory. Select which vaccine you would like to conduct an action for by clicking Actions and then click Edit. This action would only be used if you need to edit a vaccine lot number, expiration date, or funding source. If you make any changes, just click Update. To go back to your inventory on hand, click Cancel. Now, we will go into Adjustments. Adjustments can be used for many different reasons, such as dropping a vial and opted out patients. All adjustments are reviewed by the CBP program, so it is important to keep this in mind. Adjustments need to have a valid reason. Failure to justify adjustments may lead to restitution. To do this, click on Adjustment, enter the date and time. You can double-click in the box to automatically pre-fill this information. Then select your adjustment reason. In this case, it would be broken CBP vial syringe. As you can see, it automatically selects Subtract as your modification. Enter the amount of doses you dropped in the doses adjusted. Next, write what happened to the vaccine in the comments. Please make sure to be detailed and clear in your explanation. Once this is filled in, click Create. Once you create the adjustment, the dose is subtracted from your doses on hand. For inventory transfers, when contacting the provider, you must find out if the clinic you're transferring with is currently using WiZ for vaccine ordering. Depending on this answer, you will have to enter a transfer 2 different ways. If you are transferring inventory to an online clinic, go to the vaccine you are transferring, click on Action, then Transfer, double-click the date and time field, select the destination inventory location. The locations go in order of organization, pin, and unit. Enter the number of doses being transferred. Click Create when the data is completed. Then go back to your on-hand inventory to see the doses have transferred out of your inventory. You will notice that a blue hyperlink is at the top of your on-hand inventory screen. You can click the pending inventory transfer to view, delete, or update. If you are receiving an inventory transfer from an online clinic, you will see the same blue link. Click on the pending inventory transfer link. Click on Receive for each vaccine transferred in. Enter the receive date and time. Click OK. The vaccine is now added to your on-hand inventory. If you are transferring inventory to an offline clinic, you are not able to use the transfer screen. You need to make an adjustment instead. Select the vaccine you are transferring out, click Action, and then Adjustment. Double-click in the date and time field. For a reason, choose CVP Transfer to Offline Clinic. The modification will automatically default to subtract since you are transferring out doses. Doses adjusted is the number of doses you are transferring out. In the comments field, write the name of the clinic you are transferring the vaccines to. Click Create. This will deduct the transferred doses out of your inventory. In addition, you or the other transferring practice need to send in a paper copy of the transfer. These steps need to be done for each vaccine being transferred. If you are receiving an inventory transfer from an offline clinic, you need to add the inventory using the Add New Inventory screen. Enter the date and time. Select the inventory location where you are putting the vaccine. Choose the correct vaccine and NDC code. Carefully type in the lot number and expiration date. The funding source for state vaccine will always be blended public CVP. Enter the number of doses transferred in. In the comments field, write the name of the clinic you are receiving the vaccines from. Click Create. Click Cancel to get back to your inventory on hand screen. The doses are now added to your inventory. To summarize, only clinics who are placing orders online in CTWiZ can transfer inventory and accept the transfer directly in CTWiZ. For clinics who are not ordering through CTWiZ, still need to complete paper forms to transfer to another clinic. Now, let's go back to your Actions menu, and we can now click on Inquiry. This will let you run a report on every action that was done with this particular lot number. You can narrow your results by transaction date if you choose. You can also output the data in PDF or Excel. When you choose PDF and click Run Report, it will give you a nice overview of all the actions. You can scroll to the bottom of the PDF document to see all the transaction totals. If you choose Output as Excel, you will receive a more detailed information and may also filter the data by columns. This could be helpful if you are looking for something specific. Now, if you go back to Actions and click on Transactions, this will list the basic overview of all the transactions made with this lot number. You can also filter this information by adjustment reason, transaction type, reconciliation bucket. Click on Cancel to go back to your vaccines on hand. Now we will go over the vaccine return process. If you have let vaccine expire, or if you have a temperature excursion resulting in non-viable vaccines, you will need to return the vaccine to McKesson. To do this, go to Inventory Module, Vaccines, and then Vaccine Returns. On this initial screen, you can search for past or open vaccine returns. Enter information in any of the fields to help narrow your search results, or click Search with no information filled to pull up all your past vaccine returns. If you have a new vaccine return, click Add New Vaccine Return. Choose the clinic that is returning the vaccines. This is important if you are linked to multiple clinics, and click Next. Review and confirm the shipping information is correct. This information is preloaded from your provider profile. If the information is not correct, please go to Clinic Tools in the left menu and then Clinic Information. Click on Address Name or Delivery Hour screens to update. If the information listed is correct, check the box at the bottom of the screen and click Next. All the fields with the red asterisks are required fields. Return type is return only. Select your return reason, for example, expired, refrigerator too warm or cold. Label shipping method is always email. Number of shipping labels is almost always 1. This is the number of labels you need to return the vaccines. All vaccines usually fit in one box and only require 1 label. Under clinic comments, write your spoilage letter. This will go to the vaccine coordinator for review, so please explain why the vaccines were wasted. Was anything done to avoid this? And what will be done in the future to prevent further wastage? Under vaccine manufacturer NDC, you can begin typing the vaccine being returned information. For example, if you wanted to return a DTaP, you could begin typing DTaP or the NDC or the brand Infinirix Daptocel. All the DTaP that is in your on-hand inventory will begin to appear for you to select. Choose the correct vaccine, enter the number of doses returning, click Add Return. If you have other returns, continue to type the other vaccines with the amounts being returned. As you add vaccines, they will begin to list under Vaccines to Return. If you make a mistake, simply click the X to get rid of that particular line item. Once all your vaccines being returned are entered, click Create. This will save your return, but does not submit it. If you need to leave and come back to this, all the information is saved, and you can pick up where you left off by searching on that initial vaccine return screen. When you are ready to submit the return to the CVP program, click the arrow next to Update and click Submit to VFC Program. This has now been sent to us and the vaccine coordinator to review. No changes can be made to this return. Click Cancel to go back to the initial screen. You must confirm there is a Submitted for Approval status of the return on this search screen. Submitted for approval means the return is ready to be viewed by the CVP program. If you do not see the Submitted for Approval status, click on View to then submit the return. Once we receive this, we will either approve the return or reject the return. You will see the date submitted as well as the status on the vaccine return screen. For returns that are requiring vaccines to be replaced, we will leave comments in your vaccine return under VFC Program Comments. To view this comment, click View next to the rejected return. This concludes the inventory management training. Let's move on to reconciliations. Reconciliations can be done how frequently a practice desires. It would be a best practice to reconcile your inventory often to prevent issues when you need to order. Reconciliations update the system to confirm what you physically have on hand. You must resolve any discrepancies before you complete your reconciliation. And you must reconcile before you are allowed to place an order, so you do not want to wait until last minute to reconcile. Click on Vaccines, then Reconciliation to start the process. On the initial reconciliation screen, you can search for all past or currently open reconciliations. To search, enter a date range to find specific results or leave all fields blank and hit Search. If you do this, it will pull up all past reconciliations. Since we have no open reconciliations, click on Add Reconciliation. You can only have one open reconciliation at a time. Choose which location you would like to begin with. You must reconcile all storage locations to place an order. However, you do not need to reconcile private vaccine storage locations. A pre-check pop-up will show with inventory items that are either complete or outstanding. All things with a red slash need to be resolved before you can go any further. You can click View or Resolve on the right to go straight to the outstanding issue. In this case, we have an outstanding transfer. Click on Resolve. This will bring you directly to the pending transfer screen. Click on Received and then enter the time and date the vaccine was received. Once you resolve all the issues, go back into the reconciliation. You should now have all green check marks in the pre-check and are able to click Proceed. In the description field, type something that will easily help you identify this reconciliation on the search screen, such as the month, day, and year. For the count date and count time, it is extremely important you enter the exact date and time you are counting the inventory based on your clinic's schedule. All items with a transaction date in CTWiZ after this date and time will not be captured in this reconciliation. A best practice for reconciliation is at the end of the day, after all transactions have been entered into CTWiZ, or the beginning of the day before you enter any transactions in CTWiZ. The key to a successful reconciliation is entering all events like shots, wastage, and transfers into CTWiZ with the actual date and time that the event happened. If it is right now, you can also double-click in the fields to pre-fill the fields automatically. To assist you in your reconciliation, you can click on Links, then Count Sheet. A pop-up appears listing all the vaccines that are currently in your on-hand inventory. You can print this sheet and bring it to your units to help count all your vaccines. You also have a vaccine inventory reconciliation worksheet. This document shows all the transactions made for the reconciliation period. Please note your administered doses are listed on here as well. Now, you will enter your physical on-hand inventory in CTWiZ. Enter the doses you counted under your physical count and click Update to once again save. Remember, this should be your on-hand inventory before your reconciliation count date and time. Any transactions that occur after this date and time are not reflected. If there are any discrepancies, it will be listed under Inventory Differences. Why would you have an inventory difference? You can have differences for many different reasons. Maybe you didn't document a wastage or enter a shot on a patient in CTWiZ. As mentioned earlier, it is very important to enter all transactions in CTWiZ. However, there are many tools built in CTWiZ to help you identify and then fix these discrepancies. For each vaccine, if you hover over the summary symbol, this gives you a quick snapshot of transactions for this vaccine. For example, maybe you are missing a dose of Rototec and you can't find it, but you know that you wasted a dose last week. If you hover over the symbol and see that there isn't anything listed under wastage, it could remind you that you did not document it in CTWiZ as wastage. If you click on Action, then Transactions for the vaccine, it will pull up the transactions that occurred for that vaccine. You can use this screen to match against your records and find any transactions not documented or documented in error. If you realize you forgot to make an adjustment, you can do so directly in the reconciliation. Click on Actions for the vaccine you need to make an adjustment on. Then click on Create Inventory Adjustment. Enter the date and time of the adjustment. Select the reason. Depending on the reason, the modification will change. If the modification does not pre-fill, select Add or Subtract. Enter the number of doses you are adjusting for. Write a comment as to why you are making this adjustment. Just a reminder, all adjustments are reviewed by CVP staff. Then click Create. If you realize you forgot to make an adjustment, you can do so directly in the reconciliation. Click on Actions for the vaccine you need to make an adjustment on. Then click on Create Inventory Adjustment. Enter the date and time of the adjustment. Select the reason. Depending on the reason, the modification will change if the modification dose does not pre-fill. Select Add or Subtract. Enter the number of doses you are adjusting for. Write a comment as to why you are making this adjustment. Just a reminder, all adjustments are reviewed by CVP staff. Then click Create. Your adjustment is now reflected in your physical count. Once you have 0 inventory differences for all the vaccines, you can click Update to save your information. If you are ready to complete the reconciliation, click the down arrow next to Update and then close reconciliation. Once a reconciliation is closed, you cannot reopen it. This process needs to be repeated for each storage location. You can also reconcile just to keep your inventory up to date in CTWiZ without having to place an order, but you must reconcile and resolve discrepancies prior to placing an order. As mentioned earlier, it is best practice to reconcile often to work out any issues while everything is still fresh in your memory. This concludes the reconciliation training.
We now will move on to COVID ordering. Once you have reconciled your vaccine, you could go ahead and place your COVID vaccine order. To do this, click on Inventory, Vaccines, Vaccine Orders. On this initial screen, you will see the search screen where you could search for any open or past vaccine orders. You could enter any information or just click search to see a listing of all of your past orders. This is going to pull up COVID and CVP orders if you also vaccinate in the CVP program. To start a new order, go ahead and click on Add New Vaccine Order. If you belong to multiple clinics, click the drop-down and select which clinic you will be ordering for. Once you select your clinic, if it is an approved COVID site, you will now see an option for a COVID order. Check the box and click Next. A pop-up will appear asking you to confirm if your primary shipping contact information is correct, as well as your delivery hours. If your delivery hours are not correct, please go into Clinic Tools and update your shipping information. Remember to update delivery information around holidays, vacations, and other times the office may be closed, including lunch times. If everything is correct, go ahead and check the box and click Next. You are now on the COVID-19 order screen. All available COVID vaccines will be listed. You want to go ahead and enter in the amount of packages you would like per vaccine. Moderna currently comes 100 doses per pack and Pfizer is 975. If you would like 1 box of Moderna, you would put a 1 in the quantity. And if you want 1 package of 975 doses of Pfizer, you would put 1 in the quantity. Go ahead and click Add to Cart. And now you could see that your cart has 2 listed in it. If you click on your cart icon, you could see everything that is in your cart currently. If you made any mistakes, you could go ahead and click on Remove, click OK, and it will get rid of that line. If everything looks correct, just go ahead and click the X. Once you've entered in all of the vaccine that you would like to order, click on Submit to VFC Program. It's going to ask you if you're sure. You could go ahead and click OK. You should get a success message. You could go ahead and click on Cancel, and this is going to bring you back to your vaccine order search screen. If you click on Search, you will now see that there is a Submitted for Approval order. If you would like to print this order, you can do so by clicking the printer icon, or you could click on the View button to bring you back into the order so you could see what you've ordered. Once you've submitted to the VFC program, you won't be able to make any changes. Go ahead and click Cancel, and that will bring you back to your main screen. DPH will then review your COVID order and either approve or reject it. You will receive a notification in your bell icon whether your order has been approved or rejected. Once you received your order, or once your order has shipped, you could check your COVID vaccine tracking information. And to do that, you will go to your inventory, vaccines on hand. You will now have a blue hyperlink at the top of your on-hand inventory screen showing that there is a pending VTrax shipment. If you click on that blue hyperlink, it will list all of the pending vaccine shipments. If you are ordering CVP vaccines, it will list those as well. If you go ahead and click on details next to the vaccine that you want to track shipment for, it will show you the carrier as well as the tracking information. You could go ahead and copy and paste this tracking number into either UPS's or FedEx's website. Once you've received your vaccine, you'll need to accept it into CTWiZ. Again, you're going to be going to your inventory vaccines on hand screen. You're going to see that pending shipment link. Now, instead of clicking on the details like you did before to see the tracking information, you're going to click on receive. And if you ordered Pfizer and Moderna vaccine, you'll have to receive each one individually. It will bring you to this screen, which will automatically pre-fill the vaccine, the lot number, the expiration date, and the number of doses. You will have to enter in the date and time it was received, the inventory location you would like to put the vaccine in, and the funding source. All COVID vaccine will have a funding source of pandemic. If the vaccine that you are receiving is the same exact lot number as a vaccine that is currently in your inventory on hand, you may see this screen. And it will list all possible duplicates. You should only click on add to this inventory line if it's 100% match. If it is not 100% match, meaning that it's the same exact lot number and expiration date, then you want to click on proceed to create. Once you click on that proceed to create button, it will automatically add your shipment to your inventory on hand screen. If you have any questions on anything covered in today's webinar, please visit our WiZ training page. This is being updated constantly with more training information, training schedules, and such. Our training page has all of our videos listed here, or you could go ahead and click on either patient management or inventory management links here. On this page, you will be able to find help on each specific topic with step-by-step directions and screenshots. If you still have questions after looking at the training page, you can contact us. If you go to contact us on the left-hand side, you are able to submit a help desk ticket, and our team will get back to you as soon as possible.